All right, welcome everyone to the Seamless.AI daily training. We will begin shortly. Appreciate everybody for jumping on. We generally begin around 3 or 4 after the hour, so we'll just give a few more minutes for everyone to filter in, and then we'll go ahead and get started with our daily product demonstration and training. All right, thanks everyone for waiting. We're just waiting a couple more minutes here for everyone to filter into our training. So just stick with me 1 or 2 more minutes and we will go ahead and get started with our daily training and webinar.
Both good then. He's got it. All right. 14. You need to get that out. I know, dude. They're gonna pick me up. 14. We're like 18 or 20, dude.
No way. That's license count from Stripe. Don't buy it.
Hello. Hi, looks like we had somebody just jump on. So we will be jumping into training here in just about 30 seconds. And once we are all set, we're just waiting on a few people to filter in. So thank you, Andrew. Looks like you're the newest to join. The one thing before we dive in that I did want to say is that there is a Q&A section at the bottom of this Zoom screen. So if you do have any questions, feel free to enter any information into that Q&A section, and we'll go ahead and work to cover that in this demonstration today. It should only take 20 to 30 minutes to get through the entirety of the demonstration around Seamless.AI. And then after that, we'll go ahead and answer those Q&A questions that come up while we are just covering the topics that we have. So diving right in here, now that we have, looks like everybody that's going to join us today, the first thing that I wanted to note is when we get out of this call, if you do have any other questions or if there's anything you want a refresher on, there's a couple ways to quickly get in contact with us. So the first way is the bottom right-hand corner. We have this little help widget. So this is going to provide you with some suggested articles. It's going to provide you with a quick search box that you can use keywords, you can quick search, and then through that quick search box, you can find articles around how to do things within Seamless, tips and tricks, user guides, a lot of good helpful videos, a lot of good helpful markups in terms of walkthroughs and things like that to find here. You can also click out to the full article. But if you're looking through here and you can't find what you're looking for, if you have a more specific question for our support team and our success team, you can click contact us and then just provide us your name, your email address of your account, and then a quick overview of how we can help you and any screenshots associated that might be able to help us out to further understand what you're looking for. Click send, that'll go to our support team, and as quickly as possible, we'll get back to you. Typically within a few hours, oftentimes it's near immediate, but within a couple of hours, we'll typically get back to you to help to make sure that we're triaging any situation that you might have or any questions that you might have. So that is the first thing that you can do. You can also find us in our help center. So in the top right corner, simply click on help center. That is going to drop you into our search knowledge base. And you can, again, search for keywords. You can go through all of our different sections of the site. I would recommend, if you are looking for an overview of Seamless, click into the Setup and Getting Started. You can go right in here to the Setup and Getting Started article. There's some quick answers in terms of how to do things within Seamless as well. We also have past recordings of our webinars, as well as some FAQ videos and things like that around how to use some of the core features of Seamless, as well as that Seamless.AI 101 demo video. So a couple of core areas in here that you want to take a look at, and this will help you out as you're continuing to get familiar with how to use the product. So getting back then into the core of Seamless. So Seamless at its core is a search engine for sales and marketers. So think Google for finding contacts and finding contact information. So the thing that you can get best out of Seamless is identifying target contacts, identifying target companies, and then having researched, validated, in real-time contact information instantly at your fingertips. So you can do that in one of two ways. One way is using our native search engine to find contacts and to find companies, and then find that contact information. The other way is using our social search through the Chrome extension that you can download as part of the setup process or through your settings. So while we're on that topic, I also want to highlight the settings portion of the platform. So in here, you can go into the account. You can update your My Account. You can find your affiliate page, and this allows you to share Seamless with others and get commission for any time somebody that signs up and becomes a member of Seamless, becomes an unlimited user of Seamless. You can get up to 40% commission. So if you do want to share Seamless, you can go into your affiliate portal and get all your information to share here and get rewarded for it. Your billing, if you are an owner of your billing, you can go in there. Your user management, if you own your organization and your team, you have multiple people who are using the platform. You can manage your team in terms of status, if they're free users, unlimited users, if they're admins or owners. Connected apps, this is a good place to go to see all the different integrations that we have. So you can see we have the Chrome extension that allows social search. We have the Salesforce integration. We have the HubSpot integration. These two to allow direct one-click integration with your CRMs. We are going to be adding more here in the future. Our next integration is going to be actually Zapier, and Zapier will allow you to connect up to 1,500 other third-party tools to Seamless and get data flowing from this system out into a lot of those other systems through that middleware tool. We're also going to be adding more native integrations with additional CRMs, with additional email service providers and sales tools. So keep an eye here. We'll try to update this frequently. We have a developer who's actually heads down fully focused on integrations. So the latter half of 2019 should be pretty busy with those. And then you can connect your Gmail and your Outlook accounts and actually have your contacts from your emails flowing straight through Seamless. And so you can get all that information with phone numbers, with email addresses, download that into a CSV file or import that into your CRM using these integrations as well. So those are a couple of things you can do with the connected apps, and then the CRM settings as well. So once you connect your CRM, you can come in here, you can set up your global settings. So we have some really helpful articles that will walk you through this in specific, but you can come in here, you can set up your global settings. If you are an organization admin or an owner, you can set up org settings and then allowing users to use personal settings. If you select no here, that will lock them down to use your organization settings. So you can limit your team, if you do have a team underneath you that you've invited, to use only your organization settings, or you can allow them to use your personal settings. You can set up your, your overall settings here as well as your mappings within Seamless. But that will allow you to then take all this information that you're getting from Seamless and then map it directly through that one-click integration with your CRM. The other thing I wanted to note here is that we will go over a couple different ways how you can integrate the data from your CRM and how you can get that into or from Seamless into your CRM. But one option is to automatically import to your CRM. So if you have this clicked as yes, the main thing to note here is that as soon as you click the Find button within Seamless, we will allow you to take that information and it will actually automatically import that into your CRM, so you don't actually have to click an additional. And I noticed the timeline on Zapier, that's actually in testing right now. So I would say we're about 2 weeks out from a Zapier integration. There's potential we could get it out next week, but I would say conservatively we're 2 weeks out. And that's going to allow you to, sounds like, Andrew, you're familiar with Zapier. So that's going to allow you to connect with a whole bunch of different tools. Really excited about that. But that is a near term, one of the nearest things that we're actually about to release in this next upcoming sprint. So really excited about that on our end. But yeah, so that will allow you to basically take this data, do whatever you need with it, and get it to a whole bunch of different systems if you don't have your native integration with Salesforce or HubSpot. So jumping in then into the actual functionality of Seamless. So as I mentioned, two areas you can find contacts and contact information, the native platform as well as the social search through the Chrome extension. So using the native platform, as soon as you jump into Seamless and you log in, you get met with the search starters that we like to call them. So here's a couple of buttons you could click, and you can do more specific searches. So give me VPs of marketing at Salesforce. So titles at a company. You can find companies in the find companies. Over here in the tab, you can see there's a 2-tab search element. So you can find companies as well as find contacts, or you can do a more dynamic search. So finding multiple titles at multiple companies. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on one of these. You see what actually is going to happen is it's going to load those in. It's going to run a search. So you can actually see what this search looks like. And one thing to note here is you'll see that actually all this information, this contact information is already presented in front of me. What that means is that I've actually added all these contacts already to my contacts. So these are all accounted for. I've already found them. And so we're going to present within the search all the contacts that you already see and that you've already found are already going to have that contact information right in the search engine. But as we start to go to deeper pages and I get to pages that I have not found these contacts yet, so here's some contacts at Nike and I haven't found these contacts yet. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to individually click the find button, or I'm going to click this find all button. And what that's going to do is it's going to find all the contacts on this page. These are going to go into researching. And then over the course of the next 2 to 20 seconds, depending on how much load we have going through the system at any given time, those are going to start to resolve and you're going to start to see that contact information show up right here. So it's going to show up right in front of you, and it's also going to then automatically get added to your My Contacts. So anytime you click that find button, whether you do it in native search or in social search, it's going to pass that information over to My Contacts, and it's going to save that information here for you to be able to import, to export, to do whatever you want with. So our search engine, we try to keep it pretty simple to use. So again, you can add companies, you can add titles, you can add keywords. So the interesting thing about keywords is this is going to look at the profile beyond just the contact profile. So it's going to look at, so you see here, my contacts are continuing to flow in. But this is going to look at more than just the title of the company. So if you put in, director of security, you're going to find people who have the title related to director of security. But if you put security in a keyword, you're going to find people who, in their contact profile, they may have security related beyond just the title. So that's one way to look at find different contacts within the system is by using that keyword to refine and to look for additional search results. And so, you can see, you can modify any of this stuff. So I'll click search again, and now you'll see, Puma results start to come up. And then names as well. So the last thing to note within names is that typically, you're not going to be looking for just John Smith in general. You're going to be looking for John Smith at a company. So to use the name search, this is most generally used to find an individual contact. So if I'm looking for John Smith at Nike, I'm going to put Nike in the companies. I'm going to put John Smith in the name. I'm going to click search, and it's going to give me that individual record. And then I'm going to be able to click the find button for that individual record. So that is the way to utilize the seamless search and the native in-app search. You also have the filters here. So just as a reminder, when you're using this, if you ever come up with a result that doesn't seem like it has enough results, or you're looking for more contacts and it doesn't seem quite right, check the filters. Make sure you don't have other filters engaged. You can always turn those off up here. Search again, but you can go ahead and use the search to try to find exactly the right set of contacts that you're looking for if you are using the native in-app search. So if you have a named list of companies and a list of titles that you're looking for, this is a great solution for that within the Seamless platform. If you are looking for a list of companies and you're trying to find contacts under companies or just companies in general, that's where the find companies comes into play. So if you are looking for companies under an industry, employee size, revenue, location, this is one way that you can do that, as well as you could do that through social search as well. But I'll show you quickly through the native in-app search within Seamless. So you can, select any number of companies here. So we'll just select some random companies, industries, and then we'll go ahead and, we'll select some employee sizes. Looking for larger companies, and we'll look just in the U.S. You can select revenue, things like that. But once you have your criteria set, you can click search. And what we're going to do is we're going to go out, we're going to find all the companies that are associated with that that information that we can then pull back and provide that back to you. So there's two things then you can do within the company search. So you can find contacts directly under a company right away, or you can find, you can build a list of companies and then find contacts later. So I can build my big list of companies now and then come back later, or I can find contacts at a company immediately as I'm doing my search. So I'm kind of doing them in tandem, in lockstep together. So the first way is by building a big list of companies and then coming back later. So to do that, you notice that we have two buttons here as opposed to one that we do within the contact search. So if I want to build a big list of companies, I would use this add. You see if you hover over these question marks, that's going to tell you a little bit more about what this does. So add companies to my companies list for bulk company list building. So I want to build a big list of companies, and then I'll come back later and I'll find contacts under those companies. So I'm going to click add all. What that's going to do is it's then going to add those contacts. And what's happening here is now they're getting added to my companies. So if I jump over to my companies, you'll see those companies that I just added now show up here in my companies. So if I go back into my search, you'll see those have already been added. They tag with the date that you've been added for reference. For if you happen to come across these again, you'll have the date tagged. So add all, those get added. Next, add all, those get added. Next. So now I'm just building my big list of companies, and this is basically just going through and it's sourcing all those companies so I can find contacts at them later. The other thing that I can do, and you see then here, if I jump into my companies, you'll see here's all those companies that I just built. So the other thing that I can do is I can come back into my companies, and I'm going to reload here. A little bit of a delay. My internet's a little slow. But I'll go into my companies. You'll see where if you have to reload, we'll retain that information. So I'll just jump back into that search real quick. So you see I've already added all these companies. I'm back on page 1. I can also find contacts directly under these companies as I'm going through page by page or individually. So the select button will actually allow me to search contacts underneath these companies. So again, I can use the individual select, or I can use the select all. So I'm going to click select all just so I can show you what happens here. So you can see over here on the left, I'm going to have all these companies that are going to appear in my find contacts tab under the companies. So the select ones that I just added, I'll add more here. You notice that there's a 10 company maximum. So basically a page of companies aligns with the amount of companies you can put in the search results. So that way you can go page by page as quickly as possible. So this is going to allow me to, put in any titles that I'm looking for, select the companies that I want to find, hit that search button, and then we're going to go out and we're going to find contacts under those companies utilizing the titles that we're finding here. So, we're going to look for those specific titles in these companies, and then I'm going to be able to click the find button. So I'll click find, and then I'm going to go back to the next. I'm going to go back to find companies. And so I already looked under those companies. So now I'm going to go into the next set of companies, and I'm going to click select all again. And so you see those populate again, just like it did. And so I'm going to show you really quickly how to go through and find contacts under companies using our native search. And then we'll go into LinkedIn and Sales Nav, and I'll show you how to do it there so you can compare the two methods. So again, selected, those get added as companies. Click search. We're going to go ahead. We're going to search for contacts under those companies. Click find all. Go to next. And then that's going to find more contacts under those companies. Click find all. Go to next. I could go through all those. And then I'm going to go back into my find companies. I'm going to go to next. Here's the next page of companies. Select all. It's doing the same thing. It's populating. I'm going to search again. We're going through. We're finding contacts under those companies. Find all. Next. Going to load that in. And as that's loading in, I will note that there is the other option that we can utilize, social search, to do the same thing. So as soon as we're done here, I'll show you that one, find all. And then that's basically, and then click back into find companies. Next page, select all again. Those are going to get added in. Search. Those are going to load up in, find all. So that's essentially the process for the most efficient way to find contacts is by just having a named list of companies or finding a list of companies and then finding contacts under those companies using the combination of find companies and find contacts. So I see that there's a question here as well that I'll address at this point. So how do I build multiple lists and make sure they're categorized correctly so I download them into the right marketing bucket? So lists we tried to make really easy to use as well. And you will notice that there's actually this little selection up here that says California. The reason that says California is because I've set my list to say California. But how it's going to show originally when you come into Seamless, and you're going to be able to set this across search, across my contacts, my companies, no matter where you are, even in the Chrome extension, you're going to be able to set this list as well. So to do this, you simply come in here. You can type in whatever you want. So we'll type Andrew because he asked this question. So now my list is set as Andrew. So now if I go and find contacts under this company, or I find contacts under these companies and hit the search button, and I go into these next pages. So we'll go find some contacts that I haven't already found yet and let those load in. So when I find these contacts, these are going to get set with the name Andrew. So you see, as soon as I set this list, that then is when I go find contacts is going to establish that as the list for that contact. So I find all my Andrew contacts, and then I can come in here and I can reset it, or I can add a new list. Every single time you create a list, it shows up automatically in your list and it sets that name. So if I want to, set a list that I already have, I simply select that. If I want to create a new one, I'll type that in, and now that's my list. So now if I go find contacts in the future, those will get set to Jake. So what you would do here from a process standpoint is I would set my list, I would find my contacts in Seamless or in social search, and then those end up coming in here in that list. And then once I'm done with that list, I would reset my list name, or I'd create a new one, and then I'd go find contacts, and then I would reset my list name, go find contacts. And as you create these lists and as you create these contacts and companies, they'll end up getting integrated into your my contacts and my companies, as I mentioned, and then you can filter down by the list as well. So you can see I can filter down by all my lists here. So I'll come in here, click apply to my California list. And so this is how you'd filter down by the list, is using these filter headers that you can see at the top of my contacts and my companies. And then you can import, you can export, you can download, you can delete by that filtered list, by all or by selected. So we have the select checkboxes over here. So there's 3 actions that you can take within my contacts and my companies to take this data and to do something with this data. You can select them, and then you can delete, import, download. You can filter them like I have here, and then you can delete, import, download, or you can delete, import, download all of them. So your entire set of contacts that's unfiltered. So when you have no filters engaged, that's what you would get. You can see all 344 contacts here. So those are the 3 things that you can do with the contacts once you get them. The other thing that I wanted to know while we're in My Contacts is everything that you add to your My Contacts will become fully editable for you when you add them. So, I can come in here, I can modify the name. One thing of interest is you can actually click on the first name and it will give you similar names too. The name is actually an element that we do as part of a lookup for the email address, because there's patterns associated with email addresses. And so if for some reason you have a contact that comes back and it seems like they should have a valid email address, but we're for some reason not able to identify that, you can click on the name. You can select a different name, and sometimes changing Matt to Matthew will encourage our AI enough to be able to go in there and find the right contact information. So that's one way that you can take a piece of information that may not come back as validated in our system, and then change that to be able to potentially find a validated result. And then every single time you change that, so if I change any of this, Matt to Matthew, or if I change the company name or the company website through any of our AI pop-ups, then when you click save, we're going to rerun that research and validation, and it's going to allow you to see if that change has created any additional contact information that you can then find. So the other thing to note too is that you will see that there's this instance of a grayed out and alert on this email address. So we provide back real-time research validation and email validation for all of our contacts as part of Seamless is the core element. So you will see when you click on the email or the phone number, you pop the contact information AI validation screen. So that's going to provide you with the company phone numbers, any contact phone numbers we have associated. So that is a contact and company number. And 30 to 50% of the time, we're going to have a contact number. 80 to 90% of the time, we're going to have at least one company number. Sometimes we have more than one. We'll give you counts in terms of the amount of contacts that we have with that set of data. So that way it gives you, and we'll rise the most likely up to the top. And then we'll also give you the email address and all the AI associated with the email address. So a couple things to note in the email AI is the count. So the first thing is the count. This is the pattern count for this email domain that we've identified associated with this person. So the highest count is the one that we're going to recommend. We're also, going to provide you with the email AI. And so that means we're going to go through, we're going to ping the email server, and we're going to come back and tell you if it's valid, if it's invalid. Accept all in this scenario means it doesn't necessarily tell us a yes or no if this email is correct, but it's an open server. So we're going to give you the most likely email and email address associated with this person. So that way you're going to have a higher likelihood of success utilizing the Seamless system, because we're able to do some additional AI on that contact information and provide that back to you utilizing some of these features. And the other thing to note is the user AI element. So you'll see that most of these are checkboxes. That just simply means we've gone through and we've checked those areas within the system. The user AI, though, is a element of user feedback that you can provide as an end user to the system. So if you come across a phone number that either works or doesn't work, you can click the thumbs up, the thumbs down. The thumbs down, we're going to ask you for a little bit more information. If you try it and it doesn't seem to work, we're going to ask you why. And if you have any information that you could provide, or if you happen to be in the system, you're using the data from Seamless, we'd love to get feedback directly. But if you're ever wondering how can I inform us if a number or an email is effective, this user AI element within the email AI pop-up, so just clicking on this section is the way to do that. Then moving forward over to the Intel section. So this is going to give you the opportunity to jump in and go to a contact intelligence page. So this is going to be a little bit more information around the company, the contact, some site links, some company links, some individual personal links that just allows you to dig in, get a little bit more information, more personalization, more context around a contact and a company. If you want to do a little bit of research, often I'll jump into their LinkedIn profile. So be a direct link into the LinkedIn profile, or, jump into the news around the contact or the company, or jump to their website quickly, just to get a little bit of that information. But we tried to elevate that so it's all right at your fingertips, so you can quickly and effectively get that information. The other thing that we have here is we have some quick hyperlinks to the social channels. We also have the address that's going to show up. So we're going to show you the address, the company address, as well as when we have it, the contact address. And so if you click in that, you can see that there's the ability to see the contact and the company. These are editable as well, so you can jump in here, you can modify, and you can save them, but this is going to give you some information around that contact. And then the last thing too is you'll see the little Salesforce bubbles. So once you have your CRM integrated, if it's HubSpot or Salesforce, those native integrations, this is that one-click integration. So you can click on this individual bubble, and that's going to import this individual contact. You can also select this import option, and that's going to give you the ability to import all, import selected, or import filtered. So again, you can select, you can filter, or you can import all, and that's going to queue up all of the contacts, and it's going to import those into your CRM that you have connected. You have the ability to modify the list after the fact as well. So if you've created a large list and you need to change that, you can come in here, you can change those lists. You can multiple select, and then you can change those lists in bulk as well. So you can see that highlights. You can come in here, you can change those. Those will all change to California. So that's one thing you can do. And then the date is the date that you've found this contact and this contact information. So that way you can sort by date, you can sort newest to oldest. But all these areas and these fields are filterable and sortable. You'll see there's my email contacts as well. I mentioned earlier in the demo that there's the ability to source contact information out of your email inbox, whether it's Outlook or Gmail. So each time you load this up, it might take a little bit of time because we're going through there, we're scouring and we're sourcing any new information from the last time. So depending on how many emails you get or how many contacts in your email, this may take a few moments, but you can click in there. We'll start the process, and then you can click out. Once you come back, those will generally be loaded in. But that's one thing you can do there. You can also utilize the find function within this email contacts as well, and that is going to allow you to append information, and we'll use Seamless to find contact information that may be missing. So that's one thing you could do there as well that will allow you to just get some additional benefit out of the Seamless platform. So deleting, importing, downloading, those are all things you can do. Download, you can download into a CSV, and you'll notice that the one difference between deleting and importing is you're going to see two options for downloading for each, for all filtered and selected. Clean versus raw. Clean basically means I have about 20 to 25 rows or columns in my my data that I'm returning. So it's going to be all your core information. It's going to be still pretty much everything you see on this page: your name, your title, your company website, all that email information, even the most relevant, first few emails that we're identifying, and the most relevant first handful of companies, company phones and contact phones. You're going to get pretty much everything you see on the page. You're going to get information for. We do also, as I mentioned, have the AI overlay. We have all this information in contact intelligence. So there's additional fields that we do provide that if you want everything, that's around 50 to 60 columns. So it's about double the size. You can download the raw file. So I'd recommend downloading a clean file, downloading a raw file, see what works for you. We are working on building a custom update here in the next quarter or so that's going to allow you to customize this download a little bit more. But at the moment, you do have those two options. So that's essentially how you utilize the in-app search for Seamless to find contacts, find companies, and then find contacts under those companies. And then also, if you want to, build a big list of companies. So the last note here, as I mentioned, you can build a big list of companies, and then you can come back later and you can find contacts under those companies. And if you do find contacts, or if you do want to come back, then it's the same process, really. So you use the select or the select all, find those contacts, and then you can go through all of your my companies as well in that same method. So you can find a company, find contacts, or you can find all your companies and then go back after the fact and find contacts using your my companies as well. So I do see a question here. I don't have Excel downloaded on my Mac, and the download list does not come up for me. Do I need Excel? Comes up like a book of code. So looks like potentially that might be coming up in a text file or something along those lines. It does download as a CSV. So as long as you have something that can read a CSV, you will need some sort of technology or tool that you can read a CSV with. I don't think you necessarily have to have Excel. I think there's free Mac tools, there's open office tools that you could be able to open it with. But what you do there is you just download it, and then you can right click and you can select, or you control click on a Mac, I believe, or Apple click, I think it is. And then you can select the tool to use to open that. So there are some Mac friendly solutions, and I believe are free. So I would say take a look at those and see which one works for you. Doesn't require Excel, but a CSV does require some sort of compatible solution to be able to open that. The other option you might have is if you aren't able to do any of those, you can download the file, you can import it to like a Google Drive, and then you can open it in Google Sheets. That's another option that I believe would work well. It's an additional step, but if you are restricted in any area, that's one way to do it using cloud tool solutions, is just download it to your desktop, drag it into Google Drive, and then open as a Google Sheet. And that would be one option you could do as well. So the last thing that I wanted to note while we are on the subject of finding contacts with Seamless.AI is the social search element. So this is one of our most powerful elements, and this is the Chrome extension that I mentioned before. So again, into settings, go into the connected apps, or in setup as well. We're going to provide you're going to see this as soon as you sign up for Seamless, so you've probably already seen it before. add to Google Chrome is going to be an option. I definitely recommend that, because what this is going to allow you to do, it's going to allow you to use the power of LinkedIn and allow you to find contacts across LinkedIn, whether it's standard LinkedIn or Sales Navigator, and then you can send that information right back to Seamless. So I'm just going to put in, one company here, and you'll notice that when I do that, I have the search button. This is gonna cue the native search. So I'm gonna search. I'm gonna find contacts within the Nike search here within Seamless, or I can click social. If I click social, what that's gonna do is it's gonna jump me over to LinkedIn, and it's gonna have Nike as the keyword. So as I mentioned, you can utilize the free LinkedIn version, you can utilize LinkedIn Premium, or you can utilize Sales Navigator. So you see what happened is, as soon as this page loaded in, I see these blue find buttons. They look similar to the find buttons in Seamless, and these actually are Seamless. So we're going to follow you across LinkedIn, and we're going to allow you to use Seamless directly within the LinkedIn environment. So I can find all, or I can find, just like I could within Seamless. I can also utilize the list builder here as well. So it has the same functionality. I can create lists. I can assign lists. So I would assign that, and then as soon as I click that find or find all button, those are going to get assigned to whatever list I have that's showing here. So this gives you reference to whatever list you are creating. You're going to be able to see that right within your experience. And so on regular, I'm going to click that find button. We're going to scroll down automatically and then scroll back up. So that does that automatically. We do that to make sure that we're finding all that contact information, and we're not leaving anything on the table, and we're not missing any unloaded content. So it's going to scroll up, or it's going to scroll down, it's going to scroll back up, and then it's going to say view. And so as soon as it says view, that means that information has all been sent over into Seamless. So, the view next, find all next button, those are right in there. So you can do the same thing. I'm also going to show you within Sales Navigator, and Sales Navigator is actually going to allow me to do a similar type of search, but it's going to allow me to do that search in a much more dynamic nature. So Sales Nav is actually an upsell element within LinkedIn. So it's an extra, $70 or $80, I think, somewhere around there. They do have a 30-day free trial if you don't have the solution, so you can test it out. Our extension will work on the trial just as well as it does on the paid solution within Sales Nav, but it's often a great solution for somebody who's looking for either, a really specific niche set of data, because you can see here there's a lot of different filters within Sales Navigator that you're not going to have within standard. So you have your filters within standard LinkedIn, which are all these. And then you have your Sales Navigator filters, which are a considerable amount more, and it just works a little bit more of a streamlined, efficient process. So you can add whatever fields you want here. So, we'll just put in some random stuff. You can get as granular as you want. You can go into any fields, really doesn't matter. You can put in any titles here. So, we'll put in IT Director, Marketing. And then that's going to come back with, all your results there. So then you click search, and what that's going to do is it's going to run the search. And just like you saw within standard LinkedIn, you're going to see those find buttons and that find all button and the list building button. So again, the list building is going to follow you wherever you go. So I'll go ahead and just for these purposes, I'll reset this. So now I'm on the Andrew list. So I'm searching for my Andrew contacts. So I'm going to click my find all button. It's going to scroll down, and then it's going to scroll back up. So in about 5 seconds, you're going to be able to acquire 25 contacts, because you get 25 on a page with Sales Nav, you get 10 on a page with standard LinkedIn. And I'm going to click the next button. That's going to load in. Those contacts buttons are going to load in as well. So as soon as I see all those find buttons, I'm going to click find all again. It's going to scroll down. It's going to scroll back up. So I'm going to gather another 25 contacts here, all that information research validated right into my Seamless platform. And then it's going to load up again. I'm going to click the find all button as soon as these all load in, scroll down, scroll back up. And now what's happening is those are all going in there. They're all being researched. They're all being validated. So now if I click these view buttons, it's just going to jump me back into my Seamless platform. It's going to load up all those contacts, and it's going to show me all that researched and validated information. So all those contacts that I just found are all here, researched, validated with the data. You can see some of them have contacts and some of them have direct dials as well. So we're going to show you both of those. We're going to show you all this information, and then we're going to give you the ability to export that information, import that information, or as soon as Zapier is introduced, to connect those apps up and have it do it dynamically based on, the zaps that you set up. So a really quick and efficient way to build lists. If you are looking for contacts under company criteria, such as contacts under a specific industry as opposed to contacts under a specific company, SalesNav is a great solution for that, because as you saw as I was demoing the native Seamless search as well as the SalesNav search, you do have some efficiencies and some speed that you gain utilizing SalesNav, because you can find contacts directly under company search criteria as opposed to having to find the companies and then find the contacts. So a little bit of an efficiency play there if you do want to use the SalesNav solution. Or I tell people, again, like I mentioned, there is a 30-day trial there, so you can try it out, see if it works for you, and see if the combination of the two give you enough benefit for the additional cost of Sales Navigator. But that is the core function of Seamless. So those are the main elements. I'll give everybody here a few minutes just to add any more Q&A questions. We had a couple of good ones come through from Andrew. So if anybody else has anything, definitely let us know. But looking forward to continuing to help you out. Again, I will note that if you do have any further questions coming out of this, feel free to utilize that help center. Dive right in here or jump into the help center. We will consistently reach out as well. We are continuously optimizing our customer success program to make sure that we're getting all the important information in front of our customers as effectively as possible. We're going to be, when new product launches happen, we're going to launch those in product news. We're going to provide you with some updates within the app as well through some of the messaging that we have there. So hope you guys have a, so actually looks like there's one question more here. So just create a folder, do my search, make sure I clear the search and move to another folder. Yep, essentially that's what it is. So just reiterating that. So now I want, I want to now search for computer hardware contacts. And so that's the, most descriptive, just come up with the most descriptive name you can for that contact list. So you can create it, or since I already have it created, I'm going to set that. Now I'm going to go find my contacts in Seamless or in Social Search. I'm going to find those contacts. Those are automatically going to get assigned to that contact list. And then when I'm done, I can either just reset this and go find another list. So now I can set it to Andrew, go find another list. And then after the fact, I can come through, I can filter and export. I can filter down by my list. The other thing that people do is they'll create a list with that list name, and then they'll export it or import it, do whatever they need to do, delete it all, and then go and create another list name, go find those contacts, delete it all, create another list name, find the contacts, delete it all. As long as you're exporting or importing those in between and you're getting the data wherever you need it to go, that's another option. So you could build the list, you can tag the list and kind of compile that, or you can build the lists and then import, export, delete, and then start over. So there's a couple options you have there. And we do have a recording of this demo. I will show you that, again, in the Help Center, there's videos and webinars. So within 24 to 48 hours, we generally pop up these webinars on the daily webinar recording screen. There's also another element. There's videos here that are super useful. There is an article around how to use lists and things like that, because I know a few questions came up there. But the daily webinar recording, so today the 23rd, we're going to have a recording that we'll have up here in the next 24 hours, so you should be able to watch that. But yeah, we will have recordings here, and we also have a lot of information and recordings here in this Help Center. But if you have any questions as well, again, feel free to contact us. Look what you're trying to see what you're looking for. Click that Contact Us button if you can't find it, and we'll help you out there. All right. And that would be everything that we have for this demo. And so hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to let us know. And we're looking forward to continuing to help you guys as you build your pipeline and continue your prospecting. So thanks so much, and we'll be in touch.